Hey, this is the Daily Overpass. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now today, let's talk about some of the differences between factory work and knowledge work. I used to work in a factory. When I first moved to England, the first job I could get was working the night shift in a factory that made yogurt. So I was working on a conveyor belt and these yogurt pots would come off the conveyor belt and my job was to take them, put them into the box and push the box down so they could go onto the pallet. The pallet gets wrapped up and then they go, right? It was long hours. I was working 8 hours a night, long hours on my feet, and it was what it was. The nice thing about it was that I was able to go home at the end. I would do CVs, but I could easily have watched TV if I didn't have any other ambitions in life. And I didn't have to think about it anymore. I was never at home thinking, I wonder how I could pack boxes better. I wonder how I could do that. It was factory work. I was a machine. The only reason I was doing that job was because I could not find an automated way to do it. And there's lots of jobs like this. I used to work at McDonald's in high school when I was a teenager, and it was the same kind of thing. They tell you what to do, you do it. You're easily replaceable. But you don't think about it when you go home. And as a software developer and as a knowledge worker, it's different because a lot of times we don't know what to expect when we go into the office each day. We don't know what the next day is going to bring. We don't know what kind of problems we're going to have. And a lot of times we have to think not just about what we need to do as knowledge workers, as software developers, but why we need to do it. Right? One of the things I used to hear all the time in offices where I'd work is like somebody say something like, how am I supposed to know what to do if nobody tells me? Right? And one of the things about being a knowledge worker is that you have to figure out what to do a lot of the time. And it's not easy. It's not easy sometimes when you don't have a lot to do and you try to think, how can I add value to the office, right? And a lot of the times you have to figure out what the motivation is. I mean, I talk about this a lot. You have to know the goals of the organization. You have to know why they're doing what they're doing in order to add value in some way, in order to propose solutions, because problems occur every day, especially in software development. You're trying to connect to something, it's not connecting, or you're trying to do something, it's not working the way that it should. How do you go around that? How do you either, grit your teeth and fix it, get through whatever it is, or how do you go around that issue? And you can't go around that issue unless you know why something is happening. I've had some jobs in IT which have been very much factory-like. It was like, Eric, I want you to move this from over here, these files from over here to over here, and you're like, okay, fine, I'll just do what it is. But I found myself to be a lot more indispensable when I would ask why. If I was not clear of the motivations for something to happen, why are we doing this? And even with clients, I have to ask, if it's not immediately apparent to me why they're trying to do what they're doing, then I'll ask, what are you accomplishing with this and all this stuff? And it might be an annoying question to them sometimes, whatever, but if something comes up, if we see a snag somewhere, if I understand where they're trying to go, then I can propose solutions to them. The most indispensable person in any team is a person who could take a task and complete it by proposing different solutions. The person the problem solver of the group, the right-hand man, the person, like the best developers I have, I could give them something, and even though it might be we're working different shifts, they're working a different time zone, and I can say, I need this done, and this is the reason why. Then if they're working on that and they can't get that to work, they can say, but I was able to do this, and they were able to accomplish the same task, but it's because they know the motivations why, and it's not just like, do this task, then do this task, right? Which is very tiring as a manager, but it just be really tough. So I think the thing I wanted to talk to most of the junior developers out there, when you're going in for your first job, try as hard as you can to be the person who solves the problems. Try to be the person who not just does what they're supposed to do, but understands why, so that they could do it even better, propose new solutions, get around any problem that happens. We are knowledge workers. It's tiring. We get home and we're always thinking about it. We're in the shower thinking, how could I have done that better, whatever, and we never switch off. But I mean, the upside is we're not on our feet all day, I guess, and we're not easily replaceable. Right? If you're a software developer and you're easily replaceable, then you're not providing enough value in what you do. At least that's my opinion. So you might disagree with me on that. I mean, it's, you know, I look at factory work a lot, and I think about the pros and cons of it. The cons of it are we only have factory. As a factory worker, the only reason I was doing it was because they could not find a way to automate it. Sometimes, I mean, I've even had jobs where I thought, I've got this task to do. So basically every day I want you to do this, then this, then this, and if this happens, then do this, and then I think, hang on a second, I could just write some script that does that and run it on a cron job. Never mind. Like, so, you know, automation is taking over so many jobs, and if you're going to be indispensable, you have to be that person who not just knows what to do, but you have to find out why you're supposed to do it. So anyway, that is it for today. I'll talk to you guys again tomorrow.